Good morning, Internet world. Travis Wallstein with AirServe Heating, Air Conditioning, and Wallstein Plumbing here in Council Bluffs, Iowa. Part of the Circle of Trades podcast. As you notice, I don't have Todd here today. He seemed to think that he had more important stuff to do than hang out with yours truly today. But we do have a guest. It's Courtney. Is it Ott? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, you got it right.
Wow, a kid from Northwest Iowa does know something. There's a novel thought. So Courtney, like I said, I know that we have a mutual friend in common, and that's how
We
we got
do.
hooked up on this today. So tell me a little bit about you, your business. Obviously, you're involved with the trades in some level from what your job. So jump in and tell me about what you do then. So,
Yeah. Okay. So, like you said, my name's Courtney Ott. I am also a Council Bluffs native. I grew up
oh really?
there.
So you grew up on the good side of the river, just like the wrong football team. That's okay. We won't hold that against you.
Did I grew up as a Husker fan, unfortunately, but I'm from Council Bluffs, so there's that. But I own a company called the Modern Hive Interior Design.
Mm-hmm.
So we were established in 2012. So you might be
Okay.
sitting there thinking, like, well, gee, how old are you?
Yeah. Yeah, well, I act like a two. Well, my wife says I gotta be a 12-year-old. I can't be. I gotta be a child. I could be a young adolescent, but I can't be a child. So I at least act like I'm 12. So,
Your wife sounds smart. Yeah. But yeah, I started my company when I was 22 years old. I wasn't even really out of college at the time.
hmm
And I just had some opportunities come my way. My
hmm
very first project was it was close to Trainer, Iowa, actually. And it was for a family member.
what was that? What was it? Was it a house then, or okay,
Yeah, so it was actually a barndominium.
okay, yep.
My dad and grandpa, they together like to hunt and do all the
Yeah.
outdoorsy type things.
Oh yes.
And so my grandma and my mom are like, you guys got to stop bringing your trophies into the house. Like, we are over it. Like, stop with all the collections. So they decided to purchase some land over by Trainer and build this barn dominium with the builder who would help build our parents' house.
Okay.
So I'm still in college. I'm actually working for the builder at the time too to get some more business experience and trade experience.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I think this would be a great opportunity for me to help you with the interior design planning of this. That way we don't end up with camouflage upholstered recliners from Cabela's, throughout the whole space. Like,
Or the 1980s paneling, the wood fake paneling, around the
yes,
walls.
exactly. And so I convinced them to hire me. I'm just going to turn my phone on do not disturb because I forgot to do that. And so as a part of that, I decided, I should probably legitimately start a business if I'm going to help you charge you fees, purchase furniture, got to do the
Mm-hmm.
sales tax ID and all that stuff. And so that's just kind of essentially how it started. I knew nothing at the time. I knew nothing about being a business owner and just
Mm-hmm.
decided what a better time to just start doing it when I'm young and,
Yeah.
a financial
Well,
mistake isn't going to affect me too much when I'm
yeah,
22.
yeah, yeah, but it happens, and so a barn dominium, and actually, I mean, that's the crazy. Everybody's doing barn dominiums and whatnot now.
Oh,
And listen, I live halfway between Council Bluffs and Trainers, so
yeah.
yeah, I live off Pioneer. I live off Pioneer Trails, where just
Really? It's what my parents.
yeah. So yeah, so
Yeah.
no, where it turns to gravel, you go a quarter mile north, and that's where I'm at.
Okay,
So
they're like right down the street from you. What a small world.
yeah, it's a real small world. Yeah, like I said, so yeah, there's a lot of cool different stuff out there in Barney. So it's kind of interesting. That's how you get your start. Where'd you go to school for? I'm assuming you went to school for interior design now.
Well, so I did. I actually went to two different schools and got two different degrees. I followed a boy to from high school to college. He was going to UNO.
Okay.
UNO didn't really have an interior design program, but I
Mm-hmm.
didn't want to like move away from him. We're married now. We're high school sweethearts. We've been together.
Okay. Okay.
Um, so I went to UNO and got a degree in PR and advertising. And so Caitlin and
Okay.
I, common connection, like we have a great time talking about work.
Oh yeah, yeah, marketing. Yeah, that's why I pay people to market because I know what I'm not good at. But touch me about heating air conditioning. Don't talk to me about marketing, but you don't want me running my marketing. I'll put it to you that way.
And I know enough to be dangerous that I've been able to utilize it to kind of catapult our business to where it is now. But, I've gotten so busy that there's just certain things that I shouldn't be doing anymore. But, anyways, I got my degree from there. About halfway through that, I decided, I've always wanted to do this interior design thing. I really should start pursuing it. And I realized that Metro had a program, an associate's degree program for interior design.
Oh,
So I
sure.
decided, I don't want to move to Lincoln. I don't want to do the design program there, but I could do the Metro thing. It's, still in town. So I got my
Mm.
associate degree from there in interior design.
Oh, right. That's great. So I don't want to say you went the trades route, but you went the community college route to get your interior design background. You got the marketing. You got the marketing degree in the PR from UNO.
Mhm.
So you get the sales side of that part. Now you got the nuts and bolts side from Metro. Then, so
Yeah.
was this before or after they did the buildings up on the North Omaha on the Fort Omaha campus?
I
You
think
probably
this
don't
was
remember.
before because
Okay.
I think I graduated actually in 2013. So
Okay.
I,
Yeah. So
it's wild. It took me longer to get an associate's degree than it did for me to get a bachelor's degree. That took for a lot
well,
longer. I don't. Well,
uh-huh.
yeah, it's just because of the class cycles and schedules, and I was doing both schools at the same time.
Oh,
So
yeah. Well, but yeah, so you were able to juggle that. So, so, so obviously, so talk to me about interior design. Of course, we do HVAC and plumbing. So, listen, when it comes to HVAC and plumbing, we're in a needs business. We're not in a wants business. People like to have pretty bathrooms, and people like to have nice kitchens, and they like it to be able to heat and cool. But let's be honest, nobody gives two hoots about the 4-inch PVC that you have to run underneath, or the water line. Hey, and I have 8 primary colors, so you tell me what taupe is, I have no clue. I'm lost. What
there's a
shade of
variety
brown?
of types.
Yeah. What shade of brown is it, or what shade of gray is it that, so to help me understand. But you guys come in, and obviously, I mean, interior design is a huge part of any, I don't care if you're building a house, if you're building, like say the Holland Performing Arts Center. I mean, there's so many areas where that the architect comes in and interior design and layout and understand
Mhm.
height and ADA and all the other stuff that you have to deal with, because there's a lot of stuff from an architectural side that you have to.
Yeah.
Um,
And you really need
um,
both of them, honestly. The architect and the interior designer, they a lot of times work tandem side by side. But it's really more about protecting your investment, and
mhm,
it is somewhat to a certain degree a luxury service industry that we're in. But when you really step aside and think about it, it's like, okay, I'm going to spend upwards of 100K or more on this kitchen. I don't want to
mhm,
make these mistakes. And so by utilizing our services, we're really thinking it through holistically from the front end. That way
mhm,
we can determine, like, oh, there might be an issue here later on down the road. Let's think this through. Or, our
mhm,
clients are busy. I'm a busy mom. I have 3 kids. So, you know, I think part of the luxury that we provide is taking that pressure and that stress off of our clients when they are planning these types of projects.
mhm.
And we're
Yeah,
doing that planning for them during the day, during office hours,
yeah.
instead of, them going home at the end of the day after a long day of work and trying to figure this out. They've never done it before.
Yeah, that's hard. The neat part that correct me if I'm wrong, because I mean sometimes I cuss architects, and like, you cannot stick a square peg in a round hole. It does not work. Okay, let's
There's
explain.
always a way.
Yeah, there's always a way. Yeah, I've heard that one before. So, are you willing to pay for the way? Well, we don't want
Yes.
to do that.
Anything's
um,
possible with the right amount of money.
that's right. You're right about that. So, now, the cool part with me with you talking architecture and interior design is, with all the, I don't know if you do much with CAD or what programs you use,
We use
but
something
with,
similar.
yeah, so but you can sit there and you can do a layout, and you can sit there and change colors. Let's say you talk about the $100,000 kitchen. Okay, this is what's going to look like with, this shade of brown. Or this is what it's going to look like with these countertops, or it's going to look like for these elevations. So you can sit there and talk to the homeowner or your client, whoever that is that's making that investment, and say, "Yeah, I want it to look like that." But
Mhm.
you also have to be able to kind of read the customer. Correct me if I'm wrong. When you go
Well,
there,
if I would have gone to school for a third degree, it would have been in psychology. for multiple reasons.
Yeah, yeah. He's saying whatever she wants, and
Yeah,
she's like, "Oh well, here, let's try this color. Oh yeah, much better."
yeah.
So, but how much of that? I mean, obviously talking to the customer, but talked about your process with interior design from the point where you first talk to the customer to the point that you get it to a point that, okay, you're ready, you have a set of plans, you're ready to submit it to your general contractor or the contractor that they or you were going to use. Talk about that process. How does that work?
Yeah, and in our industry, there is no like set way of doing this business. And so what I tell you today could be completely different from what another interior designer does in terms of how they operate their business.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that is what helps us stand apart a little bit in terms of what our process is and our vetting process, our onboarding process. So when a client first comes to us, we decide to work together. We have this
Mm-hmm.
like big long homework form.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as intimidating as what it sounds, but it's fun. It's fun questions to help them like start thinking about their project, what inspires them. So we're going to send them this form. They're going to fill it out, and then we also want them to send us inspiration photos. So if
Okay.
there's a female involved, most likely they already have this already going through Instagram, Pinterest, House. They've already got these photos saved somewhere.
Pinterest is terrible, by the way. My wife loves it. I just
See? Yeah,
cringe.
she would already have a jump start on all of
Oh
it.
yeah, she's all. We'll go on vacation, we go on Pinterest and whatever, and figure out. Oh, we can do this and do yeah. So anyway, continue.
Yeah. Yeah. So we want them to share that with us so that way we can sit there and evaluate it, read through their homework, understand really where they're coming from and what they're trying to achieve at the end of the day.
Mhm,
We work with new builds, we work with remodels. Remodels are more challenging. They're kind of like a puzzle. We really like them, they're fun. Um, so when we start these big projects, we do want that information up front. So then once we
mhm,
have that, we're going to do an onboarding meeting with them
mhm,
where we look through those photos, ask some more questions, go through the homework, ask additional questions that are prompted. And then we also provide them with this activity called Red Dot, Green Dot. And what it is my team before the meeting, we'll go through their Pinterest boards, pull some photos that we think that, we keep seeing repeated elements within these photos. And then we're going to pull some of our own photos that might relate to what they've been saving, might not. But we're going to go through that at that meeting. And we're just going to sit there kind of quietly and tell them, go put a red dot on what you don't like, go put a green dot on what you do like. And then let's talk about it after you're done with like this
mhm,
page of all these photos. And I think that just helps them to start think outside the box too sometimes because a lot of times we don't know what we don't know, right?
mhm. Oh yeah, 100%, absolutely. So yeah, so that's interesting. So red dot, green dot. I may or may not be qualified to handle the red dot, green
I got to move the circle from, designing the
dot.
page to the correct picture. But yeah, we just really like to have this in-depth onboarding process so that way we can really truly get inside their brain. And I have clients ask me sometimes, they're like, well, in your portfolio, like I'm looking for something that's like Las Vegas glam, but I don't really see that in your portfolio. And it's because that's not really a thing in the Midwest, you know?
No, it's
So
not.
get like this one-off person that might want it or something. And it is really super easy to actually get inside their brain and start to visualize these things once we've gone through that process. So
Mm,
our portfolio just shows all of the typical Midwest things that people like and are
mhm.
gravitating towards with a couple of unique things here and there. But
Mhm. Yeah. So is yours is it primarily residential? Do you do some commercial too, or kind
we
of
do.
what you do
Hmm.
both side you do both sides of that then?
Yeah.
So, um, I particularly like the remodel business myself. We do new construction, but a lot of the new construction that we do around Council Bluffs, we do residential. We've done some. I love commercial remodels.
Yeah, they're fun. People are
I
willing to be a little bit more bold and brave, I think.
Well, and especially if you're dealing with the end user, you can have an in-depth conversation into why you should make this and everything. Well, why do they care what the HVAC is? I said, I tell you what, if you're going to spend a lot of money and they want to be able to sit in their chair and it's 70
Mhm.
degrees and they want to feel that way throughout the house, you know what? And they have comfort concerns or they got humidity concerns, yeah, whatever. And so for you, with doing a remodel, like you said, it's a jigsaw puzzle.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's super challenging and it's really fun.
hmm Yeah. So when you get into design, how deep do you get? When you get deep into it? I mean, ob- everything because you have a. I'm assuming you have a full set of essentially blueprints that you'll end up putting together. Have your architecturals, your interior elevations,
Mhm.
probably some structural too as well. I don't know if you have an engineer on staff or if that's the
We would
architect.
outsource that, but
You
yeah,
would
I mean,
outsource
we do
that.
deal with that type of stuff where we do need to seek an engineer's advice or get their stamp on something.
Hmm. Wow. Yeah, that's cool. So with this, what's been the most fun thing you've done?
Hmm. I mean, I feel like every project is unique and fun in itself, but I would say probably during the COVID era, we got a couple of really cool projects that really kind of catapulted our business to this next phase of where we're at now.
Hmm.
And one of them was a remodel over in Ginger Woods over in Valley, Nebraska.
Okay.
And it was like your typical early 2000s home, kind of a poor, somewhat open layout, but still
Hmm.
disconnected. The kitchen was super small. The house was huge though, and it had
Uh-huh.
great potential. And so we got to go in and just basically gut it all, take all the walls out that weren't working. We moved a fireplace from one end of the room to the other.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and it was there were just these angles that we had to work with. Like the staircase was in the very center of the house and it was like on an angle. And so the
Really?
kitchen was behind that and there was just like no straight walls to work with to create this new kitchen.
Hmm.
So I got to become really creative and use some just creativity that I've had to tap into basically to create this symmetry in this kitchen. And so what we did on the backside of those stairs that were kind of like angled and clipped is
Hmm.
we put these like wine glass door units that kind of like came to, a 90-degree
Sure.
off the corner and it made
Okay.
great visual within the space. And it was just so fun and so cool. And the clients were like super open and receptive to all the ideas. And it was just a blast.
Oh, that's fantastic. That actually does. That sounds like, especially they say, "Here you go."
Yeah. And the
Yeah,
funny part is they are snowbirds, and so they go to Florida for the
and
winter, and they were gone for like half the process. And so half the time I'd be meeting with them on Zoom, and I'd be holding up a fabric swatch. I'm like, "Here's your sofa fabric. Do you like it?" They're like, "Do you like it?" Yes. Okay, great. Let's do it.
oh well, that's good.
It
Well,
was a lot of
yeah, there's a lot of trust there because if they're in Florida, but yeah, if you have that client that wants to have the decision and everything, and then you don't get along, I would say I gotta believe going through back to talking back to your process and like with that customer, that vetting process for you
fun.
has to be very important because you probably have find out in that process. No offense to any clients, but not every client is your client. Is that a
Yeah.
is that a correct assessment?
Yeah. Yep. It happens. And yeah,
Mm.
we want to make sure it's a good mutual fit for everyone, that everyone's going to have a great experience and a good time.
Hmm. Yeah, because how do I want to say this? I mean, money always becomes a part of it, but with the kind of stuff you're talking, I mean, if you're wanting the Menard special, they're not coming to you for the Menard special. Nothing against Menards, but
No,
you know,
Menard specials over here. You're so right.
yeah. So when you're doing this, so what is kind of with the stuff you're working on right now? And I know this changes all the time. Colors is always a big thing. Stuff that was 30 years ago was a big. Some stuff's coming back.
Yeah.
What are you kind of seeing for trends in the industry when you're talking to clients right now?
Yeah, I've really kind of seen like a resurgence in this very organic palette, lots of wood tones, even dark wood tones.
Oh,
Um,
really?
2 years ago, it was like all about the light white oak, and now we're seeing like these richer, like red oak tones.
Mm-hmm.
And you think back to like the golden oak kitchen, you're like,
Oh,
oh my God, oh no, but
yeah,
it's
the late 90s, early 2000s, everything golden oak, bro.
yeah. And the good news is if you have a golden orange oak kitchen, you could easily strip the paint off or the stain off of that and restain it to this beautiful dark tone that I've been
Mm,
seeing come back to life. And so it's
mm.
just all these natural organic elements kind of paired together that creates this like serene element within someone's home. I think
Mm-hmm.
that, COVID did a number on a lot of us.
Oh yeah.
And we just I think people just decided like, yeah, our homes are sanctuaries and
Mm-hmm.
we need to make them a place of refuge and comfort at the end of the day. And so like
Mm-hmm.
taking the outside and bringing it in, I think has been huge.
Well, I would tell you our business from COVID for about the first month. I remember I was supposed to go to the national championships for wrestling. That was the weekend they shut everything down. I'm
Yeah.
still mad about that
I
because
want
I'm
to
a
go out
wrestling.
with like a ski slope.
You're like, oh, well, the week before I was up in Minnesota at a conference and we went to a bar and it was a bar where I've never seen so many men wash their hands in their life in a bathroom. And I'm like, okay, we know people are freaking scared now. It's like, what the hell? I mean, I'll call it men are pigs. It is what it is. But then they shut down COVID. And so for about a month and a half, people are like, oh, what do we do? But then people start working from home,
Yeah.
and
And they're looking
you know,
at the space that they hate.
yeah, well, yeah, and that's the problem. Oh, the air conditioning don't work, or hey, I want to do the bathroom doesn't do this. I'm living here all the time. This sucks.
Mhm.
And all of a sudden, that's when visit people is like, we don't care what's going to take.
Yeah.
We just want it done.
Yeah.
And that was kind of what we ran into with. It sounds like you kind of ran into a little bit of that
I've
yourself. Then,
never been more busy in my career during that COVID
yeah,
time frame. It was wild.
yeah,
We
oh
did we
yeah.
did we never stopped, you know?
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely, and that's where we were too. It's like, holy cow! It's just like, it's like, oh, you can finance it. That's even better, and it's just like, well, what do we want? We want the Cadillac. It's like, okay, well, that's what we'll do. We got to
Yeah.
do this, and definitely a different period than right now. I mean, there's still people spending money right now, but it's
A little bit more extensively. Yeah.
yeah, it definitely is, but it really, like I said, is still it depends on your client. It really depends on your client as far as what they're willing to spend. Um, so yeah, so talk about trends a little bit. I had something I wanted to ask you. I'll remember here in a minute. I'm forgetful. That's why I have to have Todd here to get my brain on track sometimes. But
No worries.
so you said your husband, is he involved with the business too then, or is
No.
he?
Oh my gosh. I would not want to
Oh, you're
work
like,
with
get the heck out. Okay. So this is,
He's enlisted for like some free labor, I'll make him come like move a chair or something for me. He's done
yeah,
that before.
I refer to that as manual labor. That'd be me. So, so, yeah. But so obviously, so how many people do you have? How many do you have, how many people work for you? Are you by yourself? Do you have a team? Kind of talk
Mhm.
about what
Yeah.
you have there.
Yeah. So around the time I started growing my family and having babies, because you got to keep in mind I started my business when I was 22. So
Mm-hmm.
we just celebrated our 13th year in business. I've had three kids in between that time frame. My
Mm-hmm.
oldest is 7, almost 8. So
Okay.
around that time frame of her being born about 8 years ago, I'm like, okay, I need some help. I can't do this alone. Like babies are a lot of work and they need the care and the attention. So I started growing my team around that time frame. I added a designer to my team. She's been with me for 5 years now. Previous to that, I guess I started to add some like 1099 workers and decided that wasn't the right fit. And then I finally eventually added Allie, who's my W 2 designer, who's been with me for 5 years. Then a year later, we decided we need an admin person. So we added our office manager, Jill. She's been with me for
Mm-hmm.
4 years. And then last year, we grew our team to a design assistant, Ella. She just graduated from Lincoln. So she's been with us for a year.
Uh,
And then additional to that, we have some outsourced people like Caitlin. She does the business development for me. She
mm-hmm.
doesn't do it full time, so she's like a contracted service. Then I've got a
Mm-hmm.
contracted social media service and a contracted CFO as well.
Okay, sure, absolutely. Yeah, I've looked at the contract. Yeah, the CFO. I don't know. I've been talked to about that, but I've got between the HVAC, but we got over 20 people work for
Oh
us. So
wow, yeah.
yeah. So yeah, like I said, I am the king of my mess. I'll leave it at that. That's probably the nice way I could put it. But so you've grown. So obviously, in the time you've grown, it's been managed growth, and it sounds like. I'm guessing culture and fit is probably a big part
Huge.
of your business.
Yeah, it's
So
huge. I mean, we sit here with each other day in and day out, and so We don't want any cat fights in the back. We all get along
Mm,
really well.
yeah, that usually doesn't work very well.
Yeah.
So yeah,
No,
so
and I've been really fortunate. Anyone who's ever worked here, I hire, based off of like personality fit a little bit, but also like, credentials as well. But yeah,
mhm.
if your attitude doesn't fit in with the way we operate, then it's a no go.
Hell, I know how that goes. Listen, I am the HR problem in my shop. At least I know everybody. I'll just say, walk it. I am your HR problem. So
I'm
I probably,
a professional HR person for that. I can send
yeah,
you her name.
there you go. Yeah, I probably should hire and fire myself for some of the stuff I say and I do, but we don't talk about
All
that.
good.
So with your business, so obviously, Omaha, Council Bluffs there. How big of an area do you cover then?
So the furthest we've gone out, we did a project in Essex, Iowa, for
Okay.
a wonderful client. She's come back to us a couple times. We'll go out to Lincoln, the Lincoln area. We've got a couple projects in Ashland. And
Mm-hmm.
then we do have the ability to work virtually as well. We did
Sure.
do a project down in Belleville, Kansas. They came up here once to meet us, and we did our presentation with them at that time. And then we just did everything virtual from there. So,
Oh, really? Wow.
yeah.
That's great. So, um, now talk. Well, I'm gonna bring up this marketing deal because we know I don't know how to do it. Well, I know we need to do it. I just don't need myself to do it per se. So, how? I mean, obviously, your work is going to speak volumes about that you do. So you talk about from the first barn to me. It's a starting point, obviously, and you've gone way past that. Um,
Mhm.
so obviously you've talked about Mark. What have you done for people to get out there and notice your company? I mean, obviously, if
Mhm.
people are coming up from Bellevue, Kansas, or Essex, Iowa, or, that unless you work virtually, but you know, your work is what's going to get you them clientele. So
Yeah.
how are you reaching out to them customers, or how are they finding you? Maybe that's the better answer. So,
So if I think back to when I started, I think a lot of it was a little bit of luck, a little bit
mm,
of right place, right time. Now I think it's just constantly being in front of the greater audience in multiple ways. So we're on Instagram. We're not really on House anymore. House was
mhm,
kind of how I got my start initially. That I
sure,
entered the workforce, I guess, during the time where the boom of House came about.
okay,
I have issues with them now, so I don't really do much with that. But I was on there. I was very active, and I think a lot of people found us that way because when you Google interior design in Omaha, House was the first link that popped up, and if you were on their first page for their directory list, like that was a great way to get in
sure.
front of people. But now it's just being consistent and showing up on those places. So LinkedIn, Pinterest, Instagram, Facebook. Not really
Mhm.
on TikTok. I haven't gotten on that trend, but
Yeah, I get enough frills on TikTok, and
yeah.
no, I know I no I understand I understand you're saying. I like the social media part of it. Like I said, it I don't know how to put it. It's important to be out there,
Not a
and I
necessary evil. It's a job in and of itself,
yeah,
really.
yeah. Well, like I said, as I say, I have a personal Facebook page and I have a business Facebook page, and we keep them 100% separate. I very seldom do anything on my business Facebook, but now my personal Facebook page, especially if you want to talk college football, that kind of stuff. Oh yeah, yeah. Like I said, politically correct when it comes to that, I'm probably not,
Yeah.
uh, but no, it's kind of interesting house because I sit there and think, Angie or Angie's list, which is kind of along them lines. But I think the industry's changed to where you had these lead generators, but I do think that people have gone away from that now.
Mhm. Yeah.
To where you, like I said, it's more how you target your deal. Like I said,
Yeah.
Instagram sounds crazy, but I see a ton of stuff on Instagram,
Mhm.
or your social TikTok. I think you're right, is a hard one, but the more people you get, like one I've been thinking about is actually YouTube.
Oh, yeah,
You know,
YouTube. I mean,
eh,
that would be a great one. I have a business YouTube account. I don't really post a lot on there,
mm,
but video is honestly the way anymore. If you want to
mm,
capture people's attention, like there's so much noise out there. And I think I saw a stat or some kind of like status or something that was like, you have to capture their attention within the first 3 seconds. Otherwise, they're going to flip to the next thing.
Yeah,
And
well,
so,
oh
like,
yeah,
video is the way to do that and just kind of being a little bit obnoxious sometimes.
oh yeah. Well, I'm good. I'm good at that. So that
I
but no,
tell
you're 100%.
I joke with the girls in our office. So, like, we have our social media manager, right, who's contracted service, but she'll come into our office every so often. She's like, okay, it's time to record the reels. And I always warn the girls ahead of time, but I'm like, really? Do we have to do this? I'm like, yeah, people like to see your face. And I guess I'll put this on the job description for the future so everyone knows it comes
Yeah.
from you.
Yeah. If you have a face for radio, need not apply. That'd be my motto. Oh, wait a minute, that'd be half my shop. We won't tell. They'd be like, I don't want to be on video, but
Yeah.
oh yeah,
You have to. You have
oh
to.
yeah, absolutely, 100%. So, but yeah, I was gonna ask something else. I forget. I think it's really cool. Oh, I know what I was gonna ask you about. Obviously, you talk to clients, you get to the point to where it's ready for contractor, and at some points, probably the homeowner, or whoever has got their own contractor. But there's probably times where you're asked to help vet the
I love
contractor.
it when they ask me to help with getting a contractor for
Yeah,
them.
talk about that because I'm in the contractor world. I'm actually looking at getting my general contractor's license. I mean, I do HVAC, I do plumbing, and with our bathroom remodels and stuff, it's just be easier. Not that I'm looking to build a home per se, but with our bathroom remodels. So kind of talk about your vetting, of that process because you're not just calling, Bill's home builder to come, to do your remodel. So talk about
Yeah.
that process because the builder, the quality of the builder and how they respond and they deal with the customer is a huge part of the business. I don't care if
No,
you do what I
yeah,
do or Jim.
it makes or break it, honestly. You're so right. And so, like for me, there's a lot of emotions that go into these type of projects. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of times the people are living through them, so it's disrupting their lives. So they're already on edge, and then they're spending a lot of money. Um, and then it's about managing expectations, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
for me, it's really important to work with contractors that I know are going to be upfront. We're going to be very communicative. We're going to under promise and over deliver. And
There you
so
go.
for me to like walk into a contractor that I've never worked with before, it's really nerve wracking.
Oh, I'm sure.
So when the client's like, I don't have a contractor, that's like the best thing ever because then I can kind of control it a little bit more. Not that I need to control it, but from an expectation standpoint and an overall client experience standpoint, it's almost better.
Yeah.
Because then I can bring in the vetted contractors that I know, like, and trust, who I've worked with several times before, who I know will take care of them.
Well, and I think that's huge because you've already had experience with them, and they know if you're going to put your name out there to recommend them to do the work, what your expectation is going to be. And things happen on a job. We all know
They
this.
do.
It's about managing expectations. But if you have customers, hey, listen, there's gonna be a day shit happens.
Hmm.
But how is it handled when that unexpected happens?
Right.
Unfortunately, it's a part of contract. If the guy's gonna, drop a bunch of f bombs and walk away, and listen, that's
Hmm.
not the guy you want your job. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, this happened. Here's what the deal is. Here's how we're gonna
Mhm.
fix it. Sometimes you have to have a little accountability. I mean, if people don't screw up, they're human. It
It's
happens.
just inevitable. And I always preface clients that a project of this nature is kind of like a pregnancy process. So, for men, not as relatable, but for the women, they're like, oh yeah, I totally get it. It's like there's so many highs and lows. Like there's lots of excitement, and then there's just like frustration, and then there's like morning sickness. When you see the estimate come back, it's a roller coaster of emotions.
Hmm. No, absolutely. It's so with that. Yeah, that's what I said. That's good. So so I'm guessing you probably have a list of three, four, maybe half dozen people you've
Mhm.
worked with that you say depend on the type of project. This is the person I would say let's talk with him, or you want to talk to a couple. You probably you're like me, you have certain subs that you can call like and trust, and they're going
Yeah,
to take care of whatever the situation is. So
absolutely.
interesting. So um Yeah, that's so it's really cool. So, but you don't have an architect in house per se.
We
So
don't. No, no.
yeah,
And, depending on the project, you don't always need them, but when there's structural stuff involved, absolutely. When there's
hmm
lots of walls moving, then yes. When there's
yeah,
the big permits required, yes, absolutely.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. Talk about well the permitting I mean, because you have to look at that from your perspective from an interior design. Not that you're the person pulling the permits, but like I said, you have to understand enough about how the house you have to understand how the house is built, how it's put together,
mhm.
and certain things it says, well, yeah, I'd love to do this here, but there's no load bearing wall, or there's this, or we have to move this. And oh, by the way, because it's a load bearing wall, it's $40,000 if you want to move the load bearing wall so we can do this. So, how bad do you want to do this? We can, like I said, we can do anything you want, but you have to be able to. That's probably part of the conversations you're having with homeowners, then I'm
Yeah.
assuming.
Well, and
So,
like on the front end too, early in business, like I've learned so many lessons. And the worst thing is when you don't have the initial conversations that you need to around budget, then you design something and then they're like, I can't do this. And then the project doesn't happen. And then you just feel bad because they spent money with you to design it and whatnot. And it just isn't going to happen. And so we really try to do our best on the front end to send a lot of educational information, have educational conversations about budget, how much things are costing, how much they can kind of expect. Like when you see the photos in our portfolio, typically a master bath falls around this type of price range. Is that something that you're comfortable with?
sure. Yeah. And well, it's like what we, with we run the same thing, customers, well, I want to do this or I want to do that. Boy, there's so much of a variable, listen, if you're wanting the $5,000, it's kind of like buying a car can get you from point A to point B, but do you want the 1978 Chevy Chevette, or do you want the 2025 Chevy Silverado 3500 with all the bells and whistles, or somewhere in between? What is it you want? If you want the Chevette, we can get you the Chevette, but you
Uh-huh.
know.
You might be disappointed at the end.
Yeah, but it'll get you from point B to point A to point B, and so will a bicycle. But you're not.
But might be a little harder. Might not be as convenient.
uh, so how do people get a hold of you? If they say, "Hey, I'm looking to do some interior design," or "Hey, you know what? Courtney looks like she'd be a pretty cool lady to work for." So how do they get a hold of you to learn about your business or talk to you about a project?
Yeah, so I'd say the best way is to start off on our website. I have a form, again, another form. But it's asking questions about the project and it's again part of that vetting process just to make sure that like our timeline aligns with theirs, our budgets align well with theirs. And so once they submit that form, I can take a look at it and have a good understanding if I think it'll be a good fit or not. And
Mm-hmm.
then once that's done, I'll schedule a call, either Zoom call, kind of like this, or I'll have them come into our office where we'll do a discovery meeting and talk a little bit more about their project. And then I can show them our process and our deliverables and what that looks like.
Okay. Well, that's fantastic. Like I said, so, well, I'm gonna, like I said, when we check out, get off the air, I'm gonna have to ask you about the family members because there's probably a good chance I know them. So I
Yeah.
won't do that on the air here. But anyway, so, anyway, so for this week, yes, Todd's not here, but so if you look at this video and you say, hey, there's Courtney, and then there's this guy named Travis. Like I said, then you're not dreaming. So again, Circle of Trades, appreciate you joining us today, Courtney, and look forward and yeah, we'll have to talk a little bit more once we get off this. I got a couple more
Absolutely.
questions.
Thanks so much for having me.
You bet. Thank you very much. Talk to you soon.